Management consulting was huge like back in the 90s and early 2000s, and I think it's kind of waning these days. I love Karim. He talks about like the evils of PowerPoint. So joined on the strategy team for Walmart's previous CTO. I'm now with Snowflake doing go-to-market strategy. First off, want to caveat like my views are my own, not my company's here. You laid out the two extremes very well. You have these like huge giant monolithic decks that like nobody ever looks at again, or like micro optimization that's not actually working towards like a broader, bigger vision. PowerPoint is not a goal tracking tool. Oftentimes it becomes that. PowerPoint is very good at presentations and like building compelling stories. Amazon, like their 6-page, PR FAQ, it's the same idea, like the why are we doing what we're doing. I think PowerPoint is necessary and can coexist in a world with execution software. This is where strategy teams are changing. Like one of the teams that they have become like sister teams with is strategy plus operations. And they become that kind of glue that, makes strategy and execution actually be tied together. Management consulting was huge like back in the 90s and early 2000s, and I think it's kind of waning these days. I think one of the reasons why strategy used to exist and still does is because of like the lack or disparity of data across different teams. I think that there's still a role for pure strategy, but like I said, it's shrinking. You mentioned GLG or some of these networks. I think they're incredibly helpful. Ideally, the approach is somewhere in the middle where you have a strategy team of some flavor, an overarching loose structure that ties the different business units together. We'll call that like deliberate strategy, like a very persistent kind of light layer on top that helps guide people across. The strategy team can kind of float from team to team and define, we'll say like more detailed specific pieces for each of those areas. And at that point, it becomes more iterative within that broader scope.